Well, the CASA program is a group of individuals that volunteer their time, efforts, and energy towards serving the most vulnerable kids in our society. The ones that are in dependency, neglect, and abuse court, the ones that are being removed from their families of origin or from the homes that they've been in, from a parent, guardian, or relative. How they serve the children is they become a resource for the child and a resource for the family, because a social worker may have 50 cases. They may deal with 100 kids. They may see a child once a month, A CASA volunteer is a one-on-one adult that advocates for the child, advocates for the child's needs and wants, and also can provide services to the family. Can be a conduit between the foster family, the fictive kin, and the natural parents, and is also a conduit for the court to get, better time information than what we may receive from the cabinet. I think it's fantastic. I think they're saving lives. I know they're saving lives. I've seen them save families. But for a CASA volunteer, one case I'm thinking about, 6 kids have been back with their natural mother for 3 years now because of one CASA volunteer. That's 6 kids that are no longer in the system. That's a mother that is no longer in the system. You can't put a price on that. I guess I could put a price on it, but it's an exorbitant expense when you talk about the system that we have. $40 a day per child, 365 days a year just to provide housing. That doesn't talk about counseling. That doesn't talk about the expense to the family emotionally and financially. It doesn't talk about the expense in the court system. So the cost to keep a kid emotionally and financially in out-of-home care or removed from the family is just tremendous. Because of one CASA volunteer, in one case I'm thinking of, 6 kids are now at home. The cases that make me want to appoint a CASA volunteer to them are those where either A, I feel like I'm not getting enough of the picture from the cabinet and other community partners, or B, I feel the case is tenuous, that maybe a new set of eyes and a new resource, either for the child, for the court, or for the family, may be necessary to prevent us going down a very tragic path. Unfortunately, that means sometimes CASA gets our worst cases, but that's where we see the most results. CASA volunteer may be the only adult in the child's life that the child can trust. It may be the only person that they can go to and understand and know that that person is there for them and for them alone. Sometimes in the family situations that these kids come from, they've learned that they can't trust that family. They've been told that they can't trust the social worker. They can't trust the judge. But CASA comes in without all that baggage. And it may be the one person in that child's life that the child can open up to and count on day in and day out while they're going through this. Well, for potential CASA volunteers, I want them to know that if they become a CASA volunteer, they will save lives. They will save families. Even if we don't get to transition the child back to the family of origin, they can still become a resource for the child in another permanency situation, whether that's permanency with a relative, permanency with fictive kin, permanency in an adoptive home. And again, having that person and that they can rely on and count on, and that person counsel the child no matter how the case is going, is just an invaluable resource. If you're going to be a CASA, you're going to save lives. You're going to save kids. And if you've got a heart for kids, nobody becomes a CASA because they're looking for something to fill up their day. But if you love kids, and you want to help the most vulnerable children in our society, and they are. I mean, these kids are victims of neglect and abuse. These kids come from situations that most of us can't even imagine. But if you want to make a difference in a kid's life, if you want to make a difference in a family, if you want to make a difference in our society, then you need to become a CASA volunteer. We don't have enough energy, we don't have enough resources within our system to do this otherwise. We have to have CASA. If not, we're going to drown. The whole system's going to drown. The cabinet's going to drown, the court's going to drown, the families are going to be disassembled. We can't do it without CASA. It's a resource that our system crumbles without. That's the God's honest truth. Maybe a cabinet worker, the kid's going to have multiple cabinet workers. In our system, the kid will have multiple cabinet workers. The kid will have multiple foster homes. The kid will have multiple people that they see for counseling and education programs and everything like that. The kid may actually have more than one judge, even though our system's not designed for that, but they will have one CASA. And that's it. And that's the constant throughout the system. And a social worker may see a child once a month. A CASA may see a child 2 or 3 times a week. And that extra set of eyes and that perspective, it's the social worker's job. It's my job. It's the psychologist and therapist's job. It's the CASA's passion. That's what makes a difference.